All right, it's time for our weekly World Wrap. I'm joined by Sky News foreign coordinator Brent O'Halloran. Brent, can you recap the major developments in the global battle against COVID-19?
Well, Peter, first let's talk numbers. This week we saw the highest number of infections in a single day since the outbreak began. That was 106,000 in 24 hours. The total number of cases worldwide has exceeded 5 million. And this morning, Columbia University released a study which was pretty damning of authorities in the United States. It found around 36,000 people who died from COVID-19 would be alive today had state and federal leaders implemented social distancing restrictions just 1 week earlier than they did. There was some promising news regarding vaccines this week. US company Moderna claims one of its possible vaccines created antibodies in several of the human test subjects. Researchers at Oxford and New York universities also say their vaccine trials are going pretty well. That, of course, there's this fight against fake and potentially dangerous news during the pandemic. Facebook this week announced measures to stop the spread of misleading news or misleading posts related to COVID-19. Now let's hear from Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg.
So there's harmful misinformation that puts people in imminent risk of physical harm. So things like saying that something is a proven cure for the virus when in fact it isn't, we will take that down. And there have been hundreds of thousands of cases of things that are harmful misinformation.
Facebook boss also mentioned the spread of debunked theories around COVID-19's connection to 5G, which reportedly inspired attacks on mobile phone towers overseas, Peter.
Meanwhile, US politicians have been getting pretty petty, haven't they?
Yeah, Peter, the United States is, of course, in the grip of a health and economic crisis, and some of its leaders are slinging childish insults at each other. Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, first had a go at President Trump's weight, calling him morbidly obese, and this morning invoked dog droppings in another personal attack. Take a listen.
It's like a child who comes in with mud on their pants or something. That's the way it is. They're outside playing. That's what he comes in with doggy do on his shoes, and everybody who works with him has that on their shoes too.
Pelosi and the Democrats haven't exactly covered themselves in glory during this pandemic. They've been criticised by progressives within their party for backing multi-trillion-dollar bailouts for multi-billion-dollar corporations while seemingly doing little to support everyday Americans. Trump's critics are also having a go at the president for not wearing masks at press events and for taking the anti-malarial drug to try and prevent COVID-19 infection. While President Trump and his administration have made plenty of contentious calls during the pandemic, the criticism of late is on comparatively less consequential stuff, Peter.
Absolutely. I mean, Pelosi going for the jugular there, and things have been heating up in Hong Kong again. What's the latest there, Brent?
Yeah, pro-democracy activists returned to the street in Hong Kong this week. Protests were sparked by China's Communist Party proposing sweeping changes to the way the semi-autonomous territory is governed. At the People's Congress in China, in Beijing, officials put forward a new legal framework and enforcement mechanism to ensure national security. That was the phrasing. That was in Hong Kong, proposed for Hong Kong. Now, this is seen by many as China attempting to get more control of Hong Kong, quash the push for democratic reforms there, and make it easier for Beijing to stamp out dissent. Now let's hear from one Hong Kong lawmaker.
The saddest state in Hong Kong history. It confirms one country, one system. It's so clear that it's a huge setback. In 2020, we can see that the Chinese government intervene Hong Kong matters in all aspects.
Now, you and your viewers will, of course, remember the mass protests in Hong Kong last year, sparked by a bill which would have allowed for the extradition of suspects to mainland China. Now, there's a chance, Peter, we may see something similar, perhaps on a smaller scale, due to Beijing's recent proposal.
Brent O'Halloran, thank you for joining us tonight. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Peter.